All right, guys. So we got a lot to talk about. We got the new ES6 EC6. I'm going to tell you all about it and what you need to know as investors in this one video. Also, some other further updates and what's my opinion about these cars, and also what to expect going forward for the stock in terms of the stock. So first of all, I want to say that here in China, Xiaomi is continuously getting into more and more scandalous problems. So before we talked about the Xiaomi Es6 Ultra with the hood vent scam. It was a complete scam. Basically, it served no purpose. But now, apparently, there's more problems. Not with the Xiaomi Es6 Ultra, but with the normal Es6. Apparently, some of the panels in the front of the car are made of plastic, and there's supposed to be like a little gap to account for expansion when the panels expand during the heat, but they didn't have that, so that has caused bulging. A lot of customers have been really dissatisfied with that and voiced their concerns online, saying that they were unhappy about this. And then on top of that, there's also many instances of AEB accidentally triggering and actually causing accidents, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, it just stops all of a sudden, and then bam, the car behind you rams into you. So that has also caused some, dissatisfaction. And it seems like so far, I mean, I understand it's their first car, but they haven't had the best reputation with the quality aspect of the car. They're actually, the people are saying their quality isn't that good. Okay, so take that for what it's worth. Now, of course, what about the ES6 and EC6? These cars just launched, and they've kept the pricing the same. All right, 338K for the ES6, and then 358K RMB for the EC6. Pricing same as before, but they've actually did a massive spec bump. So stuff like the Nappa leather comes standard before you have to add money to get that. And then also stuff like the comfort package, so seat massage and that kind of stuff, also comes standard, so before you have to add money. And then also on top of that, the AC charging adapter, if you don't choose that, you can get another 5,000 RMB off. So in terms of just pricing wise, it is absolutely a spec bump. Okay, even though the pricing seems to be the same. Now, in this kind of deflationary environment here in China, a lot of people were expecting the price to be a little bit cheaper. And a lot of people online right now are comparing it to, the R7 and kind of stuff like that, saying like, the R7 has air suspension, the ES6 doesn't. Now, mind you, the ES6, EC6, they added hydraulics to their CDC, which makes a big improvement in terms of ride stability. So, you could argue it doesn't really matter that much, okay? And that's what I'm going to say. I think it doesn't really matter that much, but there are some other aspects of this car which are really worth noting. Now, the promo is actually pretty enticing. So on top of the 240 free swap vouchers, you also get 50 free upgrade vouchers. So basically the battery upgrading from 75 kilowatt to 100 kilowatt for a long distance road trip, you get 50 of those as well. So they're going ham with these incentives, which is pretty darn nice. Of course, this car also 9031 processing chip. And it seems like, and one really good thing is that this launch event wasn't hosted in some extravagant auditorium or a venue. It was just hosted in their new house at the manufacturing base, which is their factory. So they're actually quite frugal right now. They're trying to save as much money as they can, which I think is very nice and very good to see as an investor. So this car, I ultimately do expect it to sell fairly well. A lot of they added a lot of cool features into this car, such as from the ET9 they moved the tire popping, and it's still, if you have a tire blowout, it's still stable on the road. sort of technology from the ET9. And then they also have a very cool new feature, which is sort of like rear wheel steering, but it's software rear wheel steering. So because the wheels can be controlled independently, they can essentially do sort of a smaller turn radius than before, which is also very, very nice. And this car, in all aspects, is a dramatic improvement from before. Okay. But it does have its certain weaknesses, which we have to be fair. It's still 400 volt. And I think people that really care about specs, seeing the price point of 338K RMB and it's still 400 volt could be a a turnoff for them, right? Especially when cheaper cars have even higher voltages, and that of course pertains to your mileage, right? You charging speed and mileage. You can charge faster, and of course you can get better mileage if you have a higher voltage architecture, like the Onvo, right? Onvo 800 volt architecture. Neo's Es6 still 400, so it's not a full-fledged, like, massive jump. They upgraded a lot of the interior stuff, and also one really cool thing. So they didn't launch the ET5 and ET5T, but I've heard that apparently they're improving the legroom of that car. So they kind of made the front console higher. Right? You can't really make the car higher. You're making the front console higher so you have more legroom, which is very, very interesting. And what I've seen online here in China is that the people that are most upset are the secondhand dealers. These guys who have inventory of the previous generations of Neos. Now, because this new car, right, comes with a lot of the best specs pre-selected without adding extra money. So that just means that those older, 2024, 2023, 2022 Neos, these will be harder to sell. So they're the pricing of that has dropped. So secondhand pricing for Neos are going to drop. That's just a matter of fact. It's going to happen. Going forward, this car, delivery start on the 20th in just a few days. This car will definitely add to their vehicle margins. Okay, no doubt about that. I mean, own chip saves them a lot of money. Nappa, only Nappa leather, without having to juggle between Nappa and Haptex. It's just one choice, comes standard. Of course, that's gonna simplify a lot of the construction process of the car. In general, this car is probably going to have much better margins. It will. I know for a fact it will. And the Es6 has always been Neo's best seller, and it will continue to carry this baton forward, being the best seller. So this is going to sell well. Okay, this is going to sell well. Now, here's a controversial thing. Because it doesn't have air suspension, people that want air suspension have to buy the next level car, which is the ES7 or ET7 or EC7, these 7 Series cars, which have not been upgraded. So we're kind of in a tough situation here. If you want air suspension, you're out of luck. You have to just make do with CDC plus hydraulics, which I think is pretty good. But you're kind of in a situation where right now the 7 Series and above sales will worsen. Okay, ET7, ES7, EC7, and also the ES8, because they already said at the end of the year they're going to launch the new ES8. Why would you buy the ES8 right now, right? So sales of those top tier cars will kind of not do too well, except for the ET9. ET9 will definitely still sell because the customer base is just very different. But you're going to see this kind of situation where even though ES6 deliveries will pop and explode, deliveries for those other cars will not explode, okay, until they have a full refresh. And this also means, the refresh cycle also means that you're probably not going to see the ES6, EC6, and ET5, ET5T go full NT 3.0, full 900 volt until maybe 2 years later, okay? So it's, you know, we're stuck on 400 volt for these cars for the next 2 years probably. Yeah. So we'll have to see how customers react to that. Okay. But I am very optimistic that this car will sell well. The features, they added everything that customers want. I'm most happy about the accessories in the back, the table, the little magnet accessory thing that you could attach a mirror or an iPad, all that kind of stuff. I think that's really, really cool. All right, as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.